All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a pretty powerful system for mastering the psychology of trading. But here's the twist. It all starts, not with some incredible success story, but with a story of total failure.
And the story kicks off with a confession, something I think a lot of traders can probably relate to. That gut-wrenching feeling of making one wrong, hasty decision after another and just ending up right back where you started, or maybe even worse off. But, and this is the key part, the speaker makes it really clear that this was not the end of the story.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? What is the real reason most traders fail? Is it their strategy? Is it the charts, the indicators? Or is it just the market itself? Well, the argument we're looking at today says it's none of those things. Not really. The real fight, the real battleground, it's somewhere much, much deeper. Okay, so this is our first section. To really get a handle on winning, you first have to get a handle on why you lose. It's about a total mindset shift. You have to stop looking at failure as a reason to quit and start seeing it for what it is, a set of data that you can actually analyze and learn from.
It's so easy to do this, to blame things on the outside. Oh, I failed because this happened in my life, or I had family problems. But the speaker is really emphatic here. That's a trap. It's an excuse that stops you from ever finding a real solution. So step one, before anything else, is to drop the excuses. You have to dissect the failure, really dig in and ask, why did this happen? What were the actual root causes?
All right, next up. This next idea is fascinating because it totally reframes how you look at the market and your role in it. See, it's not just some abstract place to make or lose money. It's actually a stage, a place that brings our most basic human instincts right to the surface.
Think about it. The market is almost perfectly designed to tap into our greed, that competitive streak we all have. And oh yeah, especially that desire to get rich quick. It kind of knows our psychology better than we do sometimes. And because of that, every single trader has to make a fundamental choice. Are you here to play a game of chance, or are you here to play a game of skill?
And this slide just illustrates those two paths perfectly. On one side, you have trading as tai siu. That's a Vietnamese dice game, pure chance. You're playing against the house, basically the broker, and your whole mindset is just, I hope I get lucky. We all know how that ends in the long run, right? A guaranteed loss. But then there's the other path, trading as thiên, a strategic card game. Now your opponents are the other traders, and your success depends on skill and experience. Suddenly, your odds of winning are way, way higher. So that's really the bottom line, isn't it? If you choose to be a strategist, you can't skip the work. Failure isn't just bad luck, it's a knowledge gap. It's like trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. It's just not going to work. You have to master the fundamentals first.
Okay, so if the foundation is knowledge, what about discipline? How do you actually control those huge emotions like greed and fear that can wreck everything? Well, it doesn't start with some vague idea. It starts with a concrete, step-by-step plan that spans years.
And this is what the speaker calls the 3-year rule. It's a system designed to build your psychological strength, not just your account balance. It's simple, really. Step 1, know your daily limit, the amount you can lose without getting emotional. Step 2, you start small, risking only 1% of your capital. And step 3, you only level up your risk once a year, in a very structured way. This timeline right here, this is the heart of the whole system. Look at year 1. It is all about mastering 1% risk. The goal is not to make a ton of money. The goal is to make a 1% loss feel completely normal. You're literally training your brain not to panic. And only when that becomes second nature, then you can graduate to 2% in year 2, and then maybe 3% in year 3. This is pure mental conditioning. And honestly, this is where almost everyone messes up. You have a few good trades at 1%, you feel like a genius, and you think, okay, I've got this. So you jump straight to 5% or 10% risk. The problem is, your mind isn't ready for that. A loss that felt like nothing at 1% is now psychologically massive, and it just triggers that same old destructive cycle of panic and greed. Jumping levels too soon? It's the biggest mistake you can make. So, what happens when you don't follow the rules? What happens when you crash and burn? When you face that massive, catastrophic loss that just makes you want to throw in the towel for good? Well, this is where the speaker shares a really personal story about his biggest failure. See, he was doing great trading a smaller $10,000 account. He felt invincible, so he took on money from investors, scaling up in a huge way. But the second he took a loss, the dollar amount was so much bigger that it just shattered his psychological limit. He completely lost control and blew up the entire account. So what do you do when that happens? How do you recover? He actually developed a protocol for it, like a checklist for a total mental and emotional reset. First, you stop everything. Cold turkey. Delete the trading apps from your phone. Disconnect from all the trading groups and chats. Then, go do something completely different. Something you love that has nothing to do with the markets. Learn to play guitar, go travel, whatever. The point is, you don't force a comeback. You have to wait for the passion to come back naturally.
All right, so this all brings us to the final and maybe most important piece of the puzzle. Because following all these rules isn't really the end goal. It's about achieving a complete and total shift in your mindset.
Look, the ultimate goal here is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not about finding a winning lottery ticket or depending on signals from some guru on the internet. It's about putting in the time, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes for you, to build a skill, a real skill that you own, inside and out, a skill that can give you actual, legitimate freedom.
So when you boil it all down, what are the big takeaways? First, don't depend on anyone else, not even your mentors. Second, you have to learn to bait the hook and cast the line yourself. You got to learn to fish. And third, a really interesting one, the absolute best way to master something is to share your knowledge and teach it to someone else. It forces you to understand it on a whole different level. But at the end of the day, your success or failure, it's on you.
So when you look at all of this, you realize it's not just a trading strategy. It's really a blueprint for building discipline, resilience, and self-mastery in any part of your life. The market just happens to be the classroom where you learn these lessons. So the real question to leave you with isn't what's your next trade? It's what foundation are you building right now, today?